My name is Jake, and this is the story of how I learned the hard way that sometimes the person you love the most can take you for granted until it's too late. Emma and I met in our early 20s, back when everything felt fresh, and we were inseparable. People looked at us and said, yeah, they're made for each other. We had that kind of love where late-night drives, spontaneous adventures, and deep conversations were second nature to us. We just seemed to click. When we got married, it felt like the perfect thing to do. We had big dreams. Traveling, building a life together, maybe even starting a family. For a while, everything was perfect. I had just started building my business, putting in long hours and making sacrifices. But no matter how busy I got, Emma was always my priority. I made time for her, whether it was small surprises, date nights, or simply sitting down to talk after a long day. I always made sure she knew she mattered. First, Emma appreciated it. She was proud of me, supportive, and my biggest cheerleader. But then, things started to change. At first, it was just little things. Complaints about wanting more me time or needing space to focus on herself. And I supported that. We all need space to grow. But then, the complaints grew louder. Emma began talking about putting herself first in ways that seemed less like self-care and more about doing whatever she wanted, without considering how it affected our marriage. She stopped trying. She didn't care about our plans anymore, barely asked about my day. Yet, she still expected me to treat her like she was the most important person in the world. It was like she wanted all the benefits of marriage without having to actually be a wife. At first, I told myself it was just a rough patch. Every marriage has its ups and downs, right? So I did what any loving husband would do. I tried harder. I avoided conflicts when I could. If something upset me, I tried to talk about it, but if it led to more escalation than resolution, I swallowed it down. Instead of arguing, I started surprising her with gifts, little things I knew she liked. Flowers, perfume, even that expensive handbag she had been eyeing for months. Anything to remind her that I still cared. But none of it worked. She thanked me sometimes, but there was no real excitement, no genuine appreciation, just a half-hearted smile before moving on to something else, usually her phone. When she told me she needed space, I didn't question it at first. I thought she was just figuring things out. So I gave her the room she asked for. I stopped pulling her close. I let her go out more, let her have her nights out, do whatever she felt she needed. But the more space I gave her, the more she became consumed with herself. It was like I was a background character in a story where she was the star. She started acting like she deserved better, like being with me was a compromise. Stung, honestly. Watching the woman I fell in love with slip further away was painful, especially because I was trying so hard to hold it together. Eventually, the cracks in our marriage became undeniable. I'd spend sleepless nights questioning myself. Had I done something wrong? Was I not enough? But deep down, I already knew the truth. No matter how much I loved her, I couldn't save someone who didn't want to be saved. Then came the night that changed everything. I'd been waiting up for hours. It wasn't the first time Emma had come home late, but something about this night felt different. When I finally heard the door open, I exhaled, trying to steady my emotions. I didn't want to argue, I was too tired. She walked in, barely acknowledging me. The smell of alcohol hit me before I even turned around. She stumbled, tossing her bag on the couch and kicking off her shoes. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Emma, do you even realize what you're doing? This isn't just about coming home late. You're pushing me away. I've been patient, but you're not acting like a married woman anymore. She rolled her eyes as if I had said something completely ridiculous. Then, with a lazy smirk, she laughed. Oh, please, she scoffed. You think I need you? You really think you're that special? Plenty of men would want me. If you leave, I'll replace you the next day. Her words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I didn't let it show. She wasn't done. I'm done living by your rules. I'm done living by anyone's rules. This is my life, Jake. Either deal with it or don't. I'm in my me era now, and that was it. That moment I knew I had lost her, or maybe she had lost me. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I didn't beg her to see reason. What was the point? She had already decided who she wanted to be, and it wasn't the woman I married. The next morning, I called the best divorce lawyer in town. I wasn't interested in dragging things out or making her life harder. I just wanted out. The legal process moved quickly since we had no kids, and I wasn't about to fight over shared possessions. Everything was settled with minimal back and forth. I didn't care about what was fair or unfair anymore. I just wanted out. I disappeared. No calls, no texts, no emotional messages. I was just gone. First, Emma didn't seem to care. She looked relieved, convinced that this was her fresh start, her chance to finally be free. I saw it on social media, pictures of her out with friends, drinks in hand, living it up like she was celebrating a victory. Her captions were filled with lines about new beginnings and knowing her worth. For a while, it seemed like she had moved on. She jumped right back into the dating scene, eager to entertain all the attention she got. But something was different now. She wasn't the prize she thought she was. The men who chased after her weren't looking for anything serious. They were just interested in a good time. And the ones who were looking for commitment, she didn't want them. She cycled through relationships quickly, one after another, but nothing lasted. The attention she used to thrive on started to feel hollow. For the first time, she was alone. Not by choice, but because she had pushed away the one person who truly loved her. As for me, I wasn't looking back. After the divorce, I had a choice. I could have rushed into another relationship or drowned myself in meaningless flings. But I knew that wasn't the answer. I spent too long losing myself in a marriage where I was unseen. Now it was time to choose me. So, I focused on my business, building it stronger than ever. Work wasn't just work anymore. It was a reminder that I was capable and had a purpose beyond being someone's husband. Slowly, I saw results. My business flourished, and for the first time in years, I felt in control of my life. I also started taking care of myself physically and mentally. I hit the gym, ate better, and made time for things that brought me joy. I wasn't going to settle for anything less than what added real value to my life. I had learned to be alone without feeling lonely, something I hadn't felt in a long time. I was finally flourishing. Then, years later, I ran into Emma. I was picking up a few things at the store when I turned a corner and saw her standing there, holding a shopping bag. She looked good, but something about her seemed off. "Jake," she said, hesitating. "Hey, Emma." "Been a while," I replied, offering a polite smile. We exchanged small talk. She tried to keep the conversation going, asking how I had been, but I wasn't giving her the answers she was hoping for. After a few minutes, she smiled nervously. "Maybe we could catch up sometime," she said. I smiled back. "Yeah, maybe," but deep down I knew we wouldn't. That chapter of my life was closed. She texted me a few days later, casually trying to rekindle some connection. But I didn't bite. I knew the truth. The love was still there, but the trust was long gone. And I didn't need closure from her anymore. I had given it to myself. I learned that the best way to move on from someone who hurt you isn't about getting even or proving they lost something valuable. It's about moving forward, becoming the best version of yourself, and letting them watch from a distance. And that's exactly what I did.